Final one. Okay, so this is the quadratic formula. It's a big deal. Like when you talk about Algebra 1 stuff, like what are the big things that people usually remember, or at least remember of? Quadratic formula is right at the top of the list. So this is like this big, fancy, famous formula that we use to solve for x of quadratics. And again, we're going to talk a lot more about this next week. The whole idea today is just to get you set up and ready for it so that when we see it, it's not brand new to you. I think that's going to help us when we go forward. So the quadratic formula itself is the opposite of b, aka whatever b is, change the sign, plus or minus, we've seen that before, the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, that's the discriminant, by the way, that we've seen before, all divided by 2 times a. So that's like this big formula, right, where all you have to do, if you know the a, the b, and the c value of your quadratic, you just put those numbers where those variables are. Put the b here, put the a's there, and put the c right there, and this is just a lot of calculator stuff. Okay, so it's actually really easy. It's big and nasty looking, you know, square roots and fractions and all that nasty stuff. But the good news is, once you know what the numbers are, it's all just typing it into your calculator type of stuff, okay? And then we're just going to be doing a lot of simplifying. So let me show you some examples, and we're just going to run through examples at this point. We'll talk more about like why things work next week. Again, I just want you to get a little bit comfortable with the idea behind it today. So the first example that you have, x squared plus 5x minus 6 equals 0. So I was really nice, and I made sure it already equaled 0 for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And so the first thing you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to make sure that you understand what your a and your b and your c values are. Whoop, made it larger so that you can see it better. That's nice. So my a, my b, and my c. So the a value, remember, is the thing that's in front of the x squared, and that's going to be 1. The b value is the number in front of the x. In this case, it's going to be 5. And the c value is the number that's by itself. Be careful, because that minus sign means it's a negative 6, not a positive 6. So that's my a and my b and my c, and that's what we just practiced, so you should be good at that. Now after that, the rest of it is just plug and chug. So I'm going to step through it and walk through it so that you can see what it looks like, but hopefully it kind of clicks for you because it's just putting things where they go. So make sure you keep your notes handy with you, because you're going to want to have that quadratic formula. I don't expect you to have it memorized right now because I just showed it to you like just now. That would be weird if you memorized it already. That would be cool. But I don't expect you to memorize it just now. I just want you to be able to use it. So it's the opposite of b, which means I take my b value and I do the opposite. In this case, it's a negative 5. Plus or minus the square root of b squared. So whatever that number is, I'm going to square it. Just get in a good habit of putting it in parentheses. It's always going to help you out in the future. Minus 4. Always a 4. No matter what, it's just a 4 that goes right there. Times the a value, in this case that's 1, times the c value, which in this case, is negative 6. I'm supposed to 6. So I'm just putting all of that stuff right there. Divided by 2 times your a value, which in this case is 1. So we put it all right there. Now, the way that I would recommend that you move on from here, because we really just need to simplify all of this junk. What I would recommend that you do is just start with, it's called the discriminant. It's the stuff that's underneath the square root. I would just start with that. Like type all of that into your calculator. What's 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 6? Enter. Right, so don't even worry about the square root part right now. So just type all of that in. So the rest of it will stay the same. The square root. And then you can go ahead and combine the bottom two. Like 2 times 1 is obviously 2. Let me use a different color for that one. Oh, it's over here. No. We'll use red. So 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times 1 times negative 6. That's plus 24. So you do it on your calculator. I'll do it in my head. And it's 49, I hope. And if not, that'd be weird. So negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 49 over 2. I just simplified all of that, right? Hopefully you have this, because I'm going to erase it and move on. So you guys all this? We good? Negative 5, 49, 2. Got it. Check. Negative 9, 49, 2. Got it. Check. 5. Oh, okay. What was it? I don't even remember. Is it negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 49 all over 2? I hope so. I should have gotten a copy of it and had it with me. But I don't. So if this is wrong, then that's going to be silly. Okay, negative 9 plus or minus the square root of 49 over 2. That's where we're at. Now, you know what the square root of 49 is, right? Isn't that negative 5 plus or minus 7? If you didn't know that, you type in your calculator and find it out. All over 2. Now, this is where I would say go ahead and split it. You've got a plus and a minus. Remember, that means we're going to have to figure out one of them is plus, one of them is minus. So we're going to figure out, like, okay, what would it be if we used plus? Well, then it would be, I'll use a different color for it. If you can even see that, I don't know. That would be a negative 5 plus 7 divided by 2. Negative 5 plus 7 is 2 over 2. And 2 over 2 is 1. Yay! That would be one option. And then the second option is, well, what if we did it when it was a minus 7? So let's see what that's going to look like. Negative 5 minus 7 over 2. So see how when we have that plus or minus, it's just like, okay, let's do it with a plus, and then let's do it with a minus. Negative 7 or negative 5 minus 7, type that in your calculator, you get a negative 12 over 2. Neat. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. There's my two answers. It's a quadratic formula. I know it's big and nasty, but once you plug things in, use your calculator to finish it. All right, let's try a different problem. The one in the middle. So we're going to do all of this. By the way, every single one of these that we do is all the same. We always do it the same way. What's your A value? In this case, it's 1. What's your B value? In this case, it's negative 6. What's your C value? In this case, it's 8. Right? The A, the B, and the C. Once you know that, you just plug it into the formula. You don't have to memorize it, at least not yet. You just have to be able to use it. So it's the opposite of B, which in this case my B is negative 6, so I'll use positive 6, plus or minus the square root of B squared. This is where you want to be careful to put it in parentheses. Minus 4 times the A value, well that's 1, times the C value, in this case is 8. All divided by 2 times the A value, which in this case is 1. Neat. So what I would recommend doing from here is just go ahead and simplify the stuff that's underneath the square root. So type that into your calculator. Just make sure you put that first one in parentheses or else it's going to get all jacked up. So negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 8. What do we end up with? 36 minus 32, so probably 4. Plus or minus the square root of 4. And then the bottom, you can go ahead and simplify that. That's easy. It's a 2. 2 times 1 is 2, right? And what is the square root of 4? You know this. It's plus or minus 2. Yeah, smart. So at this point where we have the 6 plus or minus 2 over 2, this is where you would want to go ahead and split it because it's like, okay, we might have a plus, we might have a minus. So I'm going to do the first one with a plus. So that would be like 6 plus 2 over 2, which is, 6 plus 2 is 8. So that would be 8 over 2. And that would give me a 4. And then I'll also do it where it's minus. So that would be 6 minus 2 over 2. Well, 6 minus 2 is 4. Divide that by 2 and I get 2. That would be my other answer. So I just took the A, the B, and the C. I put them where they go. I did the stuff that's underneath the square root. We call that the discriminant. I typed all that in my calculator, hit enter, and it gave me a 4. And then I know the square root of 4 is 2. That's where that 2 came into play. And now we just split it into two different parts, a plus and a minus. Yay! All right, let's try one more, and then I'm going to stop talking because I'm tired. Just being honest. All right, 2x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. It's the same thing. So what's your a value, your b value, and your c value? Remember, a is the thing that's in front of the x squared. So in this case, it's a 2. The b is the number in front of the x. There's nothing in front of the x, but the x is still there. So that tells me that the b is an invisible 1. And the c value is not 6, it's -6. Good. Now we put things where they go in our formula. So the formula, again, you have it in front of you. You just got to put things where they go. It's the opposite of b, so -1 plus or minus the square root of b squared. Well, what is that squared? 1 squared? Oh, that's just 1. Doesn't matter. You don't need to know that. You can use your calculator. B squared minus 4 times a times c. All divided by 2 times the a value, which is 2 times 2. Awesome. Now I would go ahead and take that discriminant, this nasty stuff underneath the square root, type it all in your calculator and hit enter. So you'll have -1 plus or minus the square root of 20, what is that? Oh no. 6, 24, 48, 49. All over 2 times 2, which is 4. I'll go ahead and simplify that. Now what is the square root of 49? Good, it's 7. Good job, kids. So smart. Or if you didn't say that, then it's 7. You should know that. But that doesn't mean you're not smart. That just means you didn't know. Okay, so -1 plus or minus 7 over 4. Now split it. Plus and minus, plus and minus, plus and minus. So if we did it with the plus, that would be -1 plus 7 divided by 4. This one's going to be a little bit weird because it's going to be 6 over 4, which isn't perfect, but we can simplify that fraction. 6 over 4 is the same thing as 3 over 2. So that would be one of them. And that's okay, we can do that. And then the other one is if we were to use the minus. So -1 minus 7 over 4, which is -8 over 4, which is -2. And that gives me my second. So that's how that works. That's the quadratic formula. Again, we're going to work with this a ton next week. So I'm not expecting you to have this whole thing like totally mastered. I just want you to give it a few chances, give it a few tries to get used to it so that when we do jump into this next week, you don't feel totally lost. You're like, okay, I do kind of remember at least something. Or not. It's just a try. Okay, so here's what I want you to finish up class with. I know you've been working hard. If you've made it to this point, congratulations. There's 9 problems on the back. These are all quadratic formula problems. Go ahead, just because I don't want to go over them, just to be honest with you, mark out these first 2. And if you didn't watch the video and you just skipped through stuff and you did the first 2 and you asked me questions like, Mr. Ellis, how do we do number 1 or number 2? Because it's so hard. And I'll be like, you didn't watch the video, did you? Because I said don't do them. So don't be that person. Don't do these 2. Mark those out. So now you just have the others to do. So it's like, what, 7 problems left? Find the A, the B, and the C. Put them in the quadratic formula. Solve them. Use your calculator. Split the plus and minus. See if you can figure it out. If you can, awesome. If not, ask a question. That's why I'm here. I'm assuming I'll be here. It's weird. It's like I'm there, but like right now in class, like you could look up and find me, but I'm also here. 2 places at once. Actually, I'm in like 20-something places at once because I'm on all these computers all at once. Thug life. Math life. Teacher life. I'm done. I'm going home, but not in real life, just right now. You do this. Ask me questions if you need it. I'm so tired. I'm sorry. Okay, bye.